Game 5 of the ALCS. Mariners, I mean, it looked like all was done, but no. Cal Raleigh had something to say about that. Gets this one just over the wall for a solo homer to tie this thing up at 2 apiece. Bottom 8, no one out in this one, but the big dumper, that was just the beginning. Eugenio Suarez, bases loaded, no outs, no doubt about it. That is a grand slam, the second grand slam in Mariners history, the first since Edgar Martinez back in 1995. The Blue Jays unable to respond after that as the Mariners go on to win Game 5. 6-2 is your final. This series now shifting to Toronto, but it's the M's who come out on the winning side of this one. Plenty of questions, especially when it comes to the pitching of the Mariners, which we will get into, but nonetheless, they're up 3-2 and now a win away from their first World Series appearance. Game 5 ALCS, and we obviously had to bring in the heavy hitters for this one. We're pleased to be joined by former Red Sox third baseman Will Middlebrooks and former first-round pick Lewis Brinson. And for the first time this series, I heard you guys say it, and now I want to make sure everyone else knows. It is the home team that finally comes away with the win. The M's rallied off the bats of Cal Raleigh and Eugenio Suarez. He had that massive grand slam there, but I just asked you guys right before we went live, the Mariners just had 3 hits going into the 8th. Will, what was the difference maker? Obviously, it's that grand slam, but what did you like out of what you saw?
Well, Gausman and Varland were good, right? They silenced the bats. Gausman wasn't lights out by any means. He nibbled, but you have to in games like this to limit the home runs, keep guys in the ballpark. Teams out homer their opponent now, 22-4. Home runs matter. Hitting the ball in the ballpark matters. They were keeping it in until that 8th. You said it, just 3 hits through 7, and then the wheels fell off for that Toronto bullpen that has struggled. That has been their Achilles heel all year. They were 16th in baseball in the regular season. In the postseason, a 5.71 ERA. That's not going to cut it
at all. I am just. I'm impressed, and I'm a little shocked at that last inning, right? We talk about the Blue Jays bullpen. Obviously, Gausman did his thing. Miller did his thing. He did his thing. But the home run by Cal Raleigh is what really got these guys going, right?
Let them take a deep breath.
And let them take a deep breath. Your superstar, ties the game right there. Gets a big home run. You had no offense going really all game besides the first couple innings, and then you get to the Blue Jays bullpen there, and you get some walks. You get a hit by pitch. You get Sir Anthony Dominguez to come in. I really thought he was going to go slider off that fastball.
Yeah,
once he fouled that first one off,
away from him,
once he fouled that first one off, I'm like, oh man, that took a good swing there.
So I wanted to ask you guys about that, because what do you guys make of Sir Anthony Dominguez's pitching choice right there, opting for that fastball in that situation?
Well, it was first and second, and he drilled Rosarena with the first pitch.
Right.
When he came in, you're going, okay, he's a little tight. Is that nerves? Is it? I mean, he's been known to lose his control. That's been his issue. He's got great stuff.
Too. Yeah.
It's a huge spot. He's got great stuff, but he can lose it at times.
Yeah.
But then he dialed it back in and was throwing good pitches. That was just a poor pitch choice going back to the fastball.
Right. I, again, thought he was going to go slider off that. We were watching him like he's going slider right there off of that fastball.
He chased a slider early in the count,
He's been chasing sliders all series. It looked like Eugenio Suarez was trying to go deep in, but this is what you got Suarez to do. This is what you got Gino Suarez from the Diamondbacks to do. You got him to do damage. All series long, all postseason long, he has been swinging for the fences, right?
Yeah.
He hit north of 50 home runs this year. This guy hits homers. This is who you got this guy, what you got this guy for, and he, with the biggest swing, like you said, biggest swing of his career so far, and biggest swing of the season for the Seattle Mariners, man. What a swing, what a homer, Oppo. The place was electric after that.
I can talk more about this Mariners offense and what we saw in that 8th inning of this game, but I do want to talk about the other side of the ball really briefly, because there were some questions that I think we all had there when we saw Dan Wilson pulling Bryce Miller after 56 pitches. And when you think about it, no earned runs and what he's done throughout this series so far. Well, what do you make of that decision now? I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, but in that moment, there were a lot of questions about that move.
Yeah, and there's no one happier when that home run came off the bat of Cal Raleigh and Suarez and Dan Wilson, because now all of a sudden that's an afterthought. And we talked about that in the past. every move a manager makes this time of the year is scrutinized, right? If a player executes his plan and he gets the job done,
looks like a genius.
He looks like a genius.
Yeah.
If a player doesn't do what he's supposed to do, why would you make that move? I didn't like the move. 56 pitches, he was throwing the ball well. It was a leadoff walk, I get that. Kiner Falefa was coming up in a bunt situation. He's an 8-hole hitter. It's not Vladdy coming up there.
Right.
It was a weird spot to go to him. And then Brash obviously giving it up.
Right. I didn't really understand the move. We were all questioning it when it did happen, coming out there. I'm like, man, he's cruising.
Yeah.
You know, he's getting outs. The guys don't look comfortable against him. 56 pitches, like you said. A little strange, maybe a little over managing there. You know, maybe, decided to, just kind of switch it up. We did mention third time through the order, guys start to see him a little well.
Yeah.
I think 10 ERA, we were saying, third time through the order for Miller there. So maybe that had something to do with it. But at the same time, you bring in Brash, you get Kiner Falefa wasn't able to lay down the bunt. He ended up popping up. You end up grounding back to the pitcher with Jimenez, and then you got George Springer coming up, and
right. And I think part of his thinking is, I don't want to let him get guys on, and then we have Springer and Guerrero coming up, regardless who comes out of the bullpen, with guys on base. We don't want guys on base for them.
With those
so
guys,
that's probably the case, being the third time around the lineup.
That's fair. I do want to look a little bit ahead because now we're heading back to Toronto. This series is shifting. I know we've talked about the home teams and trying to find a win, but when I look at this game, and I know we've talked a little bit about the Blue Jays offense, and we've talked also about momentum, but well, how do you see this game kind of taking shape, especially if you're Toronto, your backs are against the wall, and now we're in must-win territory?
This was, in my opinion, a must-win for the Mariners today.
Yes,
because
100%.
Why is that? Why?
Even though they won those 2 games in Toronto, they weren't going to go take 2 more in Toronto.
Okay.
I just don't think, because Toronto had momentum back in their corner, and you got your Savage, who wasn't as good in his last outing as he was previously in his first start of the postseason. So I think he's going to be a lot better, and it's going to be a tough game against him when they get back on Sunday.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough ask for the rookie, right? I mean, this is going to be his 6th start in the big leagues. Obviously, already had kind of a rough start against the Seattle Mariners at home. So this is a tough one, man. We need you right here. This is this is kind of a big spot, not kind of, but this is a very big spot for your Savage to be in. But it's going to be, again, the Mariners weren't going to go back to Toronto and take 2 from the Toronto Blue Jays.
And also, something to monitor, George
George
Springer.
Springer,
That's big. Like that leaves a massive void in their lineup without him at the top of their lineup. Not only the power potential, the threat, but he gets on base, and he's part of the motor of their offense.
Yeah, obviously, that's a big part just of this team, and a massive blow. And we were just watching that and kind of just like gasping together, just the impact. You could even hear it. You talked about that, Will, but you think about you have a day off, a day or 2 off before this game 6, and you want to have your star out there who is a big part of this team. What do these next few hours, these 24, 48 hours look like?
Tons of treatment. I mean, they're taking a flight tonight across the country.
It's going to blow up on that flight, man, let me tell you.
Yeah, they're going to have to really take care of him. What they're going to do is put one of those tight sleeves on to keep the swelling out of the area. He's going to get a lot of treatment during the off day, and then obviously it's probably going to be a last-second call once he goes through batting practice and all that, see if he's able to do it. But I would bet that he's in the lineup.
But you see the numbers and what he means to a lineup. I mean, you see those names. You got Jose Altuve, Derek Jeter, David Ortiz. Like, this guy means a lot to any team that he's on in the postseason, and we know how he reacts in the postseason. He turns it on in the postseason. So if he's out, which I don't think, because I know George Springer's a warrior, he wanted to stay in that game. You saw him walk down the line, try to give a jog, and John Schneider's like, hey man, listen, we're gonna need you, this last game, and on if we make it to the World Series, just for precautionary reasons. Let's get you out. Let's get you some treatment and see how it reacts. But you see what he means to the lineup. He's been hot, and he's a table setter. So hopefully he's okay. But we'll see come Game 6.
Absolutely, we got to see him trying to make his way to first base after getting hit by that pitch,
Warrior,
trying to give it a go. Obviously, just erring on the side of caution, heading to the clubhouse. We're not able to finish out in that one, but nonetheless, I'm certain that Toronto wants to have him out, something that we will be monitoring along the way. But fellas, appreciate that insight with that one. But taking a look at franchises with no World Series titles with their year of their first season, Looking at the Mariners, they're trying to get there, and now just a win away, but Blue Jays at home. The fellas are talking about what they bring and how playing out there in Toronto might not be the easiest thing for Seattle. You guys didn't think they would take 2.
No.
But can the Mariners squeeze out 1, though? We'll find out.